The Coyotes in the news as they made a decision on their future, both in the desert and a major decision for the National Hockey League. Robyn Leano of Locked On Coyotes is here to discuss it on this episode of the Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. Gil Martin, glad to be with you as always. And the Arizona Coyotes making big news in the last few days as they make a decision on their short-term future and their arena situation. And Robyn Leano of Locked On Coyotes is on top of it as always and is here to talk about it. First, want to thank everyone for making Locked On NHL your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms. Robyn, welcome back to the show. Always great to have you.
Thanks for coming on. Excited to talk to you about all what's going on with Arizona again.
Yeah, I mean, never a dull moment with the arena situation, but at least it looks like there is a short-term solution and it will keep the Coyotes in the desert. Why don't you explain what's happening and what it means for the Coyotes and for the National Hockey League?
Yeah, so I'll first actually kind of wind back a couple weeks ago when the advanced discussions first came out to news, where the Arizona Coyotes were in discussion of Arizona State University to use their new multi-purpose arena, which was going to be opening this fall, as a temporary solution. 5,000 seats. It's small, potentially even smaller, because the Coyotes got to build extra facilities, NHL facilities for that. Now fast forward to just earlier over the weekend, the Coyotes had the ABOR, the Arizona Board of Regents, the governing body that takes care of everything that involves the universities here in the state of Arizona. It's like, okay, so we hear you, Arizona, what you propose. We're going to accept it. And essentially, that proposal is the Coyotes are going to pay the university $20 million to build the NHL level annex on top of that facility, and also pay all the rent up front. So it's like, this seems like it's not going to be a loss for us. You're going to stay here for 3 years at least. You got a temporary home until you could potentially move just down the street.
You said at least 3 years. What is the situation with the building of a permanent home? Where do we stand with that?
So it's still in the pipeline for the Tempe City Council. There hasn't even been a set date on discussing it yet. They haven't had a vote or anything like that. And we don't know when that's going to happen. It could be a couple months from now. The problem is, right at this point, why it might be held back is because Tempe City Council actually has elections coming up in the next couple months. So they figure that out as well. So it might be a long time until we actually get a vote on that. So that's why it's at least 3 years. So they're giving them the benefit of doubt, trying to spread it out, trying to make sure that the Coyotes get all their cards in place to make sure that this permanent place on Rio Salado, which is literally about 2 blocks away from where they're going to be playing, gets approved and built.
What are the advantages and the drawbacks of playing in a 5,000 seat or less capacity arena?
Well, first and foremost, it's 5,000 seats or less, and again, I mentioned it's 5,000 seats now is what it's supposed to be. 3,500 down to potentially 3,500 because they got to put in new locker rooms, press box, everything to make it NHL ready, and that just means a significantly less available tickets to sell, which obviously is going to take a huge hit on revenue for the Arizona Coyotes. They're not gonna do a lot. It's gonna be, it's definitely gonna suck for them. But I take a look back on the counter side is I personally would rather have a completely full to the brim packed 3,500 to 5,000 seat arena than a third full Gila River Arena in Glendale all the way on the other side of town.
That makes sense, and it's understandable. What do you think they'll do about ticket prices? Will the ticket prices be very high to try to make up for some of that revenue lost because there's such a small capacity, or will they try to make sure they fill the building by keeping the ticket prices roughly the same?
I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if those tickets go up. Those tickets are probably definitely going to go up because of the demand's going to go high. And this goes to the fact that it's on ASU's campus. So now you have students who can easily just watch the games. You have a bunch of people. This is the side of town, Gil, that's hockey fanatic. Scottsdale, Tempe, Gilbert, Chandler. This side of Arizona is where all the hockey fans are. So like that, and this is what I've been calling for the entire time on Locked On Coyotes. Move the Coyotes to the East Valley because that's where all the fans are, and so the demand's going to be incredibly high. So yeah, the prices have got to go up. Unfortunately, for the casual fan out there who likes to go to games for $12, $15, you're not going to get that. It's just going to be physically impossible.
And you mentioned they're going closer to the fan base. What do you think this move means for the long-term success of the organization in the desert?
Well, it's going to be huge because now they are able to grow a lot more of the fan base even more. They can get more. They can get more butts and seats for when they get that permanent arena. And I think the biggest benefit here of them being there is Arizona State University's campus is on Tempe land, and their new arena is within Tempe. So like, if the city council looks at this, okay, they can approve that, they can build this $1.7 billion arena. That arena, 16,000 seats or whatever it is, can easily fill up because now they see the success of what they're doing down here.
Definitely a positive. One potential negative that I think would concern the players is by having such a limited capacity at this venue. Obviously, there's less money coming in for player salaries because the way they figure out the cap is based on, in part, ticket revenue. Any reactions that you've heard about from the Players Association?
Yeah, so there were a couple different reactions. One actually from the Players Association, and one was actually mentioned earlier in the week before the decision from actually Commissioner Gary Bettman. And so the Players Association, they put out a statement, and this was actually tweeted by Craig Morgan of PHNX, and he said that, and this statement was, "We are presently in discussion with the NHL and the club about concerns raised for the Coyotes' agreement to play in a new but much smaller arena at Arizona State University. Obviously, this works only in the short term while a new arena is built. We trust that plans will be finalized and construction will begin as soon as possible." So they're just saying, yes, this sucks, but we trust the Coyotes are able to find that future plan, and this seems to be the sentiment all around. Gary Bettman said the same thing, and he even said that don't even think about what this revenue sharing and escrow is going to affect. It's not going to make any impact because the Coyotes are already at the maximum right now for that. So there's going to be no change on that side as well.
So the basic premise is take one step back to take two or three steps forward.
Exactly.
All right, Robyn, why don't you tell our listeners and our viewers where they could find your show and where they could find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find Locked On Coyotes podcast wherever you get your podcast. You can find our YouTube page. You just look up Locked On Coyotes. On Twitter at LO_Coyotes. On Instagram as well, Locked On Coyotes. Personally, I am at Robyn_Leano. That's Robyn with the Y_LEANO.
All right, Robyn, always a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for doing this.
Awesome. Of course, Gil.